Getting freaking cold. Hello, guys. Today is the last day of 2024. So tomorrow is going to be 2025, and I am going to respond to few people that ask me the same questions. Why I think the way I think about this industry, and why I believe that we are the ones who are the uh, are destroying this industry, basically. Well, um, probably the way I was raised. Okay, I grew up back in Peru, in South America. If you guys are not familiar with that country, it's a small country. It's not that small. I think it's the third, the fourth biggest in South America. Peru. That is where I grew up, and I was born and I grew up there. And I grew up in a very, very, very poor neighborhood. Even though my father wasn't that poor, but I grew up in a poor, very poor neighborhood. I think I was the only few kids that had shoes, that wore shoes in for the school, and also I was the only, I think, the only one who had uh, sneakers uh, to play soccer. And so every time that I went to play soccer, all my friends, they want me to take it off. They wouldn't let me play with the sneakers because none of them had sneakers. So, um, but you know what? We were happy. We were happy kids in the neighborhood. There was no discrimination because none of us had nothing, basically. We had what we need to stay alive. That's it. So I never seen discrimination or things like that. you know and that's where I grew up. And then when I was 10 years old, I we moved into my dad's farm. We went and live in the farm. It's a small valley, a small, well, there is no even a town there, close to my dad's farm. So I grew up there, between um, cows and sheep and pigs and rabbits. The farm wasn't that big, but it was big enough for us to survive from it. To um, support our, the family. So that is where I learned the hard work, and basically I learned how to survive. If I did not work, I wouldn't eat. Even though I was a little kid, but that's how my dad instilled hard work, discipline, a good habit. And at that time, we didn't have TV or electricity or running water, nothing like that. I'm talking about the 70s, okay? Um, and then I used to go to the school in that neighborhood, which is, the school was probably about 10 miles from my house. So sometimes I had to walk to the school, and sometimes I rode my horse, and other times my dad gave us a ride, to other kids who were by the neighborhood. All of us had to go to that school. That was the only school for the whole valley. Okay. And then when I was about 10 years old, my dad put me in a martial arts school. If you guys are familiar with the Shotokan, it's a Japanese style, 100% Japanese. So I start practicing martial arts, which taught me discipline also and hard work, right? My sensei was very strict, and just like my dad, okay, my dad also was very, very strict. So, um, and I learned um, the it is very important to help each other in the farm and the karate class, because we work as a team. So that's one thing, the idea to help each other, or to lift the guy who is falling behind, or to push each other to get better. That those ideas was instilled or ingrained at that time, since I was a little kid. And then when I was about 14 years old, my dad put me in a military school in the 80s. So I went to military school for 3 years. And the reason is because back in my country, at that time, the military service was an obligation. So every uh, person who turned 18 was had an obligation to go and serve in the military. It was by law. Okay, I think they changed now, but after 2009, I don't think you have to. So it's voluntarily. But anyways, that was 3 years of my life. So basically, I went through hell. Remember, this was in the 80s. There was no cameras, no iPhones, no social media. So, and seems like the human rights wasn't that active in my country. So we went through hell, and you know that was it. It's like whatever happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. Same thing. Whatever happened in the military schools stays there. So nothing to see, nothing to say, nothing happened. You live there. When you get out, forget about it. Very simple. But one thing also I learned there was helping each other. If one of us was falling behind, we have to go back and help the guy. Otherwise, all of us pay for it. The consequences of failing was very, very how can I say, what's the word I want to use, critical for all of us. It was the punishment was sometimes unbearable. Okay, so we have to help each other no matter what. Okay, it doesn't matter if you didn't like the guy. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter. We have to help each other. So again, that was ingrained in me. If we succeed, or if I succeed, all of us had to succeed. All of us. There was no me or you. It was all of us. All of us. That's how we were raised, and we were taught, and that's how we were disciplined. And and that that had a huge effect in my life. Being in the military at that age, you know, I finished when I was 17, almost 18. It was a very meaningful time in my life. Taught me responsibility, discipline, courage, pride, you know, honor, ethics, all those things, you know, sometimes in a very, very harsh way, but it was good for me, you know, because I had a very, very strong temper, and I think, and I believe also that my father and my mother thought that I needed some type of military discipline in my life. So that was a good thing. That was a good thing. And then after that, I I tried to become an officer in the army, in the Peruvian army, army, but I couldn't. You have to have a godfather, but my father didn't believe in that kind of shit. So if I couldn't do it by myself, then I wouldn't continue trying. You know, corruption is everywhere. So anyway, so I went to college. I studied agriculture engineer. I think that's what it's called. That was about farming and stuff like that for about 2 years, and then I had to go and start working. So I became a fisherman, and then after that I came to United States. You know, but the reason why I think the way I think, and 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 I try also to teach that to my children, that whatever happens in our life, I'm gonna be specific. Whatever happens in my life is is it is because my own decisions. Okay, so if I go to work somewhere and if I don't like it, I have two choices: or I try to change it, or I just walk away. So and and since I was a little kid, that's my father taught me that way. You know, when I say, well, I don't like what I'm doing here in the farm, he said, okay, do you have another choice? No. So basically shut the fuck up and stop complaining. Now if you think you have another choice, then go and do it. You know, can you change it? If the answer was yes, then start working on it, start changing it. And you know, and when I came to United States, I was working really hard work, construction. um, you know, it was tough. I work in roofing, and I didn't mind. It was hard work, but I didn't mind. But at the same time, I was like, no, I didn't come to United States to be a roofer. You know, otherwise I just stay home. You know, or have a better life. You know, I had a farm and I just could stay there. My father had employees. Probably I couldn't help him to manage the farm and stuff like that. But at the same time, I was like, I'm not gonna run away. I'm not gonna give up. I can change this shit. So I decided to go to college. So I worked my ass off. I went to college. I finished auto mechanics at the same time. While I finished auto mechanics, I went to the police academy. I paid for myself. I sponsored myself Okay, um, I was working 10 hours and every day, and I was lucky. The job that I had, they had a lot of overtime, so I work a lot. But at the same time, so I work from 5 a.m. to basically 5 p.m. And then after 5 p.m., I just went to the police academy, and that was Monday through Saturday. So I worked my ass off, because I want to become a police officer. I thought was a very honorable job, and I thought was, to serve and protect. And so that was something that it was in me, in my personality, in my character. So I did that, and I graduated on top of my class. I was the first one who got the job, and I worked for as a police officer. I worked for the sheriff, and then I worked for transit. But, as I was working for the police, I learned a lot of things that, and some things that I did not agree. So I tried to change it, but since I couldn't, I just fucking quit. You know, I quit because this is how the system works, and I wasn't going to how can I say, I wasn't going to be one of the officers that just stay quiet because it has officer have a good insurance, good benefits, and you can retire after 20 years and stuff like that. But I wasn't going to exchange those benefits with my principles. I wasn't going to do that. So I just quit, and and then I became a truck driver. So I became a truck driver, and I've been doing that since 2013. I've been doing my own thing. I'm 100% independent, and I don't work for anyone. I have no contracts, right? It's my own thing. So I run for brokers who pay my rate, and otherwise I just stay home. For me, it's a very simple thing. I do not agree with what's going on in this industry, and that's the reason I don't support working for big companies and corporations. It's not because I'm against the big companies and corporations. It's just I believe that those big companies, corporations, CEOs, and shareholders, they are taking advantage of their employees, of their workers. So since I don't agree, I don't work for them. Now, one thing that I wanna be clear. If I was the CEO, if I own a big company, and I have that mentality that that make people work for me, and pay them almost nothing so I can make more money. If I have that type of mentality, probably I will do the same thing. I will take advantage of people's situation, and I will use the laws and regulations to take advantage, those loopholes, and I will do my best not to pay taxes, and to grow my wealth. You know what I mean? And if I can get away with not paying my employees, I will. I will. Well, if I go and work for a company that I know is going to pay me almost nothing, it's not going to treat me like a person, with respect and give me the respect I deserve, because I am working for them and I am producing money for them. And if they are not going to treat me with the same respect, then I'm not gonna work for them. Because I honestly I understand that the only reason those companies are growing and growing is because the CEO's job, the people there in charge, their job is to find the better ways for them to make more money. So no, one of the ways is to pay less and less and less to their employees. So if I know that, why should I go and work for them? You know what I mean? Why should I do that? Why should I go and lease my equipment? Why should I go and lease purchase? Knowing that those companies, every time I run for them, they are making more money and they are gaining more power, and they are buying politicians, and they are bending the rules. You know what I mean? They are using those loopholes, so they are not going to pay taxes. They are getting away with giving less and less benefits to their employees. So if I don't agree, I'm not gonna go work for them. So and that's how I was raised. So when I hear people, specifically in truckers, that are always complaining about their companies and and employers, that they feel like they are taking advantage of them, but they continue working for them. So I just say, you know what? Why you don't shut the fuck up? If you don't like it, if you don't like it, why you don't change it? Now, if you cannot change it, then stop working for them. Quit. Do something else. It's very simple. Now, if we take one of those two routes, I think none of this shit would happen. You know what I mean? None of this shit would happen. Now, it's not easy to try to change or to quit. Because if you try to change, you can be accused of you know what I'm talking about, right? If you try to organize people, or you try to change the way those big companies and corporations are doing business, you can be accused of I don't know. I don't even want to say it. Yeah, you can be accused of, right? Anyways. Now, if you quit, now probably it's going to be hard for you to find a job again, right? Now you have family to support, and you have bills to pay, and all those things. But in my case, I'd rather starve. I'd rather lose everything. Materialistic things, material things that I can buy and sell. But I'm not going to exchange it for my principles, for my ideals, for my honor. I'm not going to exchange it. I can't. I wouldn't feel good about it. You know what I mean? But that's the reason I live a very simple life too. I don't have a lot of things. I don't have nice toys. Because if I start getting all those really nice toys and nice things, and spending my money, now I become easy prey for the system. You know what I mean? So we have to put everything in a scale and weigh it. your priorities, what's more important for you. You know, when you make those type of decisions, and then you can start acting, right? So I understand a lot of people, they have so much beautiful things, you know, and that's the reason they can stand up for what's right. You know what I mean? Because there is other things that pull them away from it. And that's the reason you see people taking the abuse and exploitation, just putting their head down and taking it. But I'm not willing to do that. If you are going to gain something, you have to give something, right? So if you want your freedom, you have to give something. That's the way I look at it. You know, the reason why I can work um, um, an average of 4,000 miles per month, and the reason why I can wait until I get paid for my rate is because I have no debt. You know what I mean? I don't have a beautiful cars, or I don't have beautiful things that has to be paid and shit like that. I don't have those kind of things. So that's a sacrifice that I do, because I value more my freedom, my principles, you know what I mean? My honor. Those for me has more value than material things. So yeah, I guess that's the reason I think the way I think, you know. And why I'm putting this in the video, because after I put it out there, it's gonna be here forever, you know. It's gonna be out there forever, and I want to be in record that the things that are happening right now in this industry, it did not happen overnight. It has been happening little by little. You know what I mean? And I believe the reason why these things are happening is because we let this shit happen to us. You know, and we will have many excuses why we don't do or we don't say anything about it. You know, people have different reasons for not doing or not saying anything about it, right? For not standing up for what we believe is the right thing to do, right? So you know, when we let the Federal Motor Carrier put this regulation on us, like, you know, you have to have ELED, knowing, everybody knows, every truck driver knows that that shit is not helping us at all. You know, it's not diminishing the accidents, it's not diminishing the road rage, right? It's not diminishing the stress. Basically, to the contrary, it's causing more damage to this industry. And just because you know, the ATA and the Federal Motor Carrier and all those big money guys, you know, corporations, big companies, and all those guys, they want us to be controlled by them, right? They want to know what we do and how we think and everything, and they want to control more than anything is how much we make, right? Free market? Yeah, right. So, and all of us know this. All of us know what's going on. But nobody say anything. Nobody's willing to do anything about it. You know? When I write my comments, people think that I'm crazy, and they start like, hey, why you think that way? Why you don't go to Canada? You know? It's a socialist. Come on. Just because I said let's stand up for what's right, uh, people are calling me socialist. Seriously? You know, that's and I guess that's the reason a lot of people are asking me why you think that way. Why you think we are? It's our fault. It's the politicians' fault. It's the rich people's fault. It's the corporations' fault. It's the system's fault. Yeah, but who? At the end of the day, who is working for that system? We are. You know, no one is going to come over here and change for us and make it better for us. No one. I believe the change has to come within us. You know, I believe that in order for this industry to change, we have to first of all understand that it's not the big companies and corporations' fault. Okay, it's not. The system is there to protect them. Politicians are there to protect them. You know. So now, if we understand that, how can we change this? That's the question that you guys need to ask yourselves. You know what I mean? Do you think you can change working for those big companies and participating, helping them, buying their equipment, leasing your equipment to those companies? Do you think you're going to change that? Now, if you're okay with it, then this situation is going to have really, really bad consequences in the near future. You know what I mean? That this is what's gonna happen, and believe me, you know, Walmart killed all those little stores. Doesn't exist anymore. Now Walmart can do whatever they want, right? It's gonna be the same thing. You know, you're gonna have Prime or, you know, those big companies. They're gonna fuse together, or they are going to get stronger and stronger, and they're gonna start killing those small and middle companies. You know, just asphyxiating them or buying them. And when they take over, guess what? Guess where you're gonna be? Exactly, right there. Right? So that's the reason I think the way I think. Because I honestly understand that the only way we can change this is helping each other, is looking out for each other. You know, it doesn't matter if you work there or here. So yeah, the you know, that's the reason I think the way I think. You know, I think growing up in a very, very poor neighborhood, living with poor people, practicing martial arts at the early age, and then going to for my military service at the, when I was 14 years old. All those things helped me out to shape my view, to understand that in order for us to make it better for ourselves, we have to change it. There is no one that's coming to help us. You know, we have to change. We have to change our mentality. We have to understand that we depend on each other. You know what I mean? If you are bullied today, most likely I'm gonna be bullied tomorrow. You know what I mean? So so we have to do something about it. We have to do something about it. There is no way we can run away from it, you know. So the way I think is because, like I said before, I grew up in a very, very poor neighborhood. I started practicing martial arts when I was 10 years old, and I continued practicing for about 13 years, almost every day. And I continue practicing now that I'm old. I continue practicing once in a while, just as a way of life. That's it. And being in a military school, having a father who value his principles, his ethics, his discipline, you know, his moral values were in a higher regards in comparison with anything else. Seeing my father acting with kindness and honesty with his employees and with everybody else who he dealt with, in his business as a farmer. All those things shaped my life, and I'm glad that I grew up in that kind of environment. I wouldn't change for anything. When I came here to United States, I was teaching martial arts in a high school and middle school. I was teaching in my basement. I was teaching for a black belt academy here in West Valley. So so that helped me to understand this culture more and more, and then going to college and then becoming a police officer. All those things helped me out, and that's the reason I think what I think. I'm not going to exchange my freedom, my principles, my ethics, my moral values for comfortability. You know what I mean? If I believe that this system is here to protect big companies and corporations, I'm not going to work for them. Simple. I'm not going to work for them. So this is my last video, guys. This is it for 2024. If you like my content, please feel free to subscribe, give me the thumbs up, help me to spread, help me to get to more people. So share it with your friends, make your comments. I'll be glad to answer if you have any questions. I wish you the best. Tomorrow is going to be 2025, and I believe most of us are going to wake up and we are going to start thinking how we're going to change this. I believe that we can do that. All we have to do is organize and stop working for those big companies. If you feel like the broker is taking advantage of you, don't do their loads, and put it out there. If you're an owner operator, independent owner operator, open up your channel. We have social media we have to use to help other people to understand that there is more to it. Leasing and leasing purchase is not the way of doing business in this industry. Going and work for Amazon is not the way of doing business in this industry. If you think the way I think, come on, don't be afraid. What you have to lose? You're gonna lose everything anyways. You know what I mean? Why you have to lose? So sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, you know? And at this time, the way this industry is functioning, I don't think the drivers are winning. The CEOs are, the shareholders are, they are winning. Not the people who are doing the hard work, you know? We are not winning. So, what's gonna be? You gonna continue doing the same shit? Or you guys gonna try to do something about it? You know? So, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I wish you the best 2025.